Good evening, everyone. We will start our meeting shortly of the Menands School Board of Education. We continue to work on our streaming and making it the best quality it can be for those participating remotely. So we have found by not moving the camera and using a different positioned microphone that we think that will be best. So though you may not be able to see everyone who is speaking, you will be able to hear much clearly than you have in meetings past. So that said, I think we are set to begin.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? You're in public session.
And I would just ask all board members to use their outside voices to the extent that they can, and Jean as well.
We'll move to roll call. Mr. Manlin?
Here.
Mr. Meffert?
Here.
Mrs. Wilson? Present. Mr. Dykenberger?
Here.
And Mrs. Jessica? Here. Okay, we can stand for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everybody. Comments from the public on agenda items. Just know that you can make comments, ask questions, voice concerns, or compliments on BOE comments@menands.org. Once again, BOE comments@menands.org. And we'll be looking at that throughout the meeting to see your questions if you have any. Just have to read this statement, though. Just a reminder for those members of the public in attendance, this is one of two opportunities afforded members of the public to comment on and inquire about agenda items. Members of the public also have an opportunity at the end of the evening's agenda to ask questions or voice concerns or comments on matters not formally noted on the agenda. We do appreciate everyone's cooperation. Any questions?
I do not see any comments listed at this point. Jeff at BOE comments@menands.org.
Okay. All right, move along to approval of the minutes. Are there any questions about the prior meeting's minutes?
No.
How can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District accept the minutes from the November 9th, 2020 meeting.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution carries. Along to business matters. We've got one discussion item tonight. The board member term length. You should have received an email from me on Friday with the data on there. Primary motivation for that really is, out of the last, at least in my time living in this village, the last 20 years, we've only had 2, maybe 3 contested or multiple people running for election. So this is really talking about, recruitment really, when it comes down to. We have a current term length of 5 years, and just wanted to have a discussion to see if it was a viable option for us to reduce that, since we find that sometimes community members hard or difficult for them to make a commitment for 5 years, to possibly shorten that if we so decide. It does have to go to a public vote in May. That would be written up by our attorneys. I've spoken to NISBA about kind of the regulations and how that all plays out. You make your best attempt not to have a majority going on the same year. We try to spread it out. There would be 1 year along the strand if we ever did decide to amend it or propose amending it with our public, that it could, there would be 1 year where there would be 2 members that would be up along the way. But the attorneys can write it so it only happens, X amount of times. We have 5 members, it will only happen once every 5 years. So according to the data, at least that I looked at 75 local as well as kind of the surrounding area school districts, all different shapes and sizes, common, Union Free, city, small districts, all different shapes and sizes. The most notable ones are Waterford and North Greenbush or Wyanskill, which are smaller districts, Wyanskill being a K district like ours. Each of them have 5 board members and they have 3-year terms. Rest of it's all over the map. And the data shows that 50 school districts on and around the surrounding area have 3-year terms, 6 of them have 4-year terms, and 19 have 5-year terms, up being one of them. So I just wanted to open that up for dialogue to see if that's something we want to either talk about or consider moving forward, just as really a recruitment tool to get more candidates and frankly have a little more open discussion and to really learn about candidates, through debate and such in elections in the future.
I mean, I looked at it and like you said, I looked at North County, there seemed to be 5 years, I think there's a benefit for being 3 years. It's less of a commitment for people. The one piece I did like about the 5 years is it keeps your board steady, and it can, for us with our building project and everything, it was nice to be able to see things through and be there for the 5 years. I mean, not to say you couldn't run again. That's always an option. So I think there's pros and cons, but I wouldn't be opposed to the 3 years if that's what's holding people back from, they don't want to make the 5-year commitment, but a 3-year commitment seems more feasible to them. I wouldn't have a problem listening to the public if that's what they would like.
Yeah, have we had community members say that 5 years is just too much? I love to run, but
My unscientific observations, really, in the years that I've been president, the last 10 years, when we looked to fill a seat because someone moved away or a child aged out and board members left. The difficulty I found in 5 years is really been the 5 years too much kind of thing. When you're filling a seat with a little bit of time left in it, that's easier to do because, it's 2 years, 3 years, 3 years, what have you. Going back to the days before I was on the board and I was actually coming to board meetings and such, that was usually what was said. Again, unscientific, that's my observation. I wouldn't say it's a prevailing thought, but I'm just looking to the future, well past even our time of getting committed citizens to entertain the thought of joining the board. I've gotten other reasons too. How many, the frequency in which we have meetings and commitments. And I think each of you, actually, 3 of us before me, have actually been people that have come in midterm and then filled out a term and then ran. And when I spoke to you, a lot of it is kind of a try it before you run kind of thing. So you've had that opportunity to do that. Whereas, going forward, that may not be the case where people have to step up and do 5-year commitments. So they got reelected last year for a second term. So I'm just looking to the future. That's really fully
I'm not opposed to the idea. I'm just trying to get a sense of we're solving problems that aren't there.
Or if it would really help. I feel the same way, I'm not opposed to it, but I'm worried about finding it hard to find people who are willing to, PTA, we struggle to get people to share events and struggle to get people to run for PTA board and things like that. I'm worried that if we reduce it to 3 years, we still won't get people to step forward, but the people we have will only be with us for 3 years.
We can always do 4 years too. There's nothing holding us back from anything that we do. We're to do nothing. If you look at the data, all the elections that have gone since I can remember, probably in the mid-2000s, there's only been 3 years that there have been contested elections. And that's probably 15 elections. So the data shows that 12 of those years, they were unopposed.
It would be nice to see more new people coming in and more involvement in the, they got to stick to that. So if we think it would help, I'd be curious to see what other people think, what the public thinks.
This would not take effect this coming May. Talking to NISBA, when they're voting on it, they would vote on it for the future, so it wouldn't take effect until next year, so 2022.
The vote happens this term, and then it's the next person that gets elected, so it's a 2-year,
That's correct.
year and a half.
Yeah.
I think I said earlier when we were talking and briefly discussed it, I'm struggling to find a downside other than continuity.
Right.
coming in, even attending board meetings for almost a year before I ran and got elected, dude, there's stuff that happens that is so backwards because the state has so many outdated laws that govern what happens here. The learning curve alone is a year and a half in.
Yep.
And even then, you don't know. It took me almost 5 years to learn the acronyms that are used in schools and what happened. So struggling, 3 years, you're spending all that time trying to figure things out, and then, you're out, and then you might not even care. I found that everyone that's on the board now cares and a vested interest in this school and want to see it succeed and the children here. 3 years, I don't know. I want to open it up, and honestly, I want to see what the public actually, if we have a forum, if that's one of the options, to see what they actually think.
I'd also be curious to see with the districts that have smaller terms, do they have more turnover? Do they have contested elections? Do they have the things we're looking for? Or is it just shorter terms?
I can data from this about.
Yeah, there'd be, gotta be somewhere.
So you mean like what the reelection amount?
Yeah,
How many of those
the
3
districts
people
that have
reelected?
shorter terms,
Sure.
do they have more birth or turnover? Do they have more contested elections? Do they have, sort of the community involvement that we're looking for, by shortening the terms? Or if they don't, they, pretty
If
fine.
you look at the,
Doesn't matter.
the state government or federal government, we're not, obviously, we're school government, that's totally separate, but if you look at the public, they are looking for term limits and those types of things. We're not asking for that. We're looking for reductions. They would gladly vote term limits for a lot of state and national votes. What I can do is I can actually ask NISBA then maybe in the 3-year category, what maybe, like you're mentioning, what the reelection rate is, maybe, ask some questions around duration of board members, maybe average stay on a board. Would that be helpful?
Yeah, that would be great. That would be nice.
I would probably just add, I teach in a district where there's a high turnover rate in the Board of Education.
That's 4-year term.
Yeah, but for sometimes I don't stay, and, and I just know the problems that brings us with board members, turning over so much, and then between the superintendent and the board members trying to build something and see something through, I think it gets a little difficult when there's a lot of turnover, and that's something to think about too.
I'll play devil's advocate on the first side of it. You get that board members that you don't want to stay on.
Yeah, sure. Well, that's not me, so.
Not saying that we have it here, but I'm just saying.
No, you're right.
Both sides for protection of the district.
I mean, is this something Dr. Long could weigh in? I don't know.
Of course you can.
Okay, I'm just thinking on your end, what you think?
There's certainly value in consistency, though the board has changed in my 8 years with the 5-year terms and the overflow, and the way the terms go, you still keep a consistent core. I actually, to Jeff's earlier point, I kind of forecasted out if this did change, how long would we go and still have the opportunity to have the people currently here sitting on the board, and would we get to that point where we may have 2 seats up in a given year? Takes us a little while, I think 7 to 9 years out to get to that point, just the way that it cycles and it falls and the math behind it. I've certainly been involved in districts where there is not consistency in the board, and that does create its challenges. At the same time, we would love to see more and new people get involved, and that's no disrespect to anybody by any means. The other thing I'll point out is, Jeff mentioned 3 of the 5 members sitting here have had to come in because somebody has left. Would somebody have left if it were a 3-year term? I think that's a question worth entertaining too. 2 full commitments to 5-year terms is a big commitment. And if you don't start that commitment when your child is in kindergarten, here in Menands, you're not finishing that commitment until after your child has left us. So that's a pretty significant commitment from folks. And I could certainly see, as a parent myself in a small district, that's a lot to commit to for a period of time when you don't know what the end of that period of time is going to look like for you and your family. So I think I agree with everything I'm hearing. There's pros and there's cons. I think there's probably certainly further data out there to help us understand how it has worked and what the benefits and disadvantages may have been in other districts. I'd be curious too, because there's one I'm thinking of that I haven't worked in, but I'm closely related to, where I believe they have entertained a change in the not too distant past. And it might be interesting to find out if there's somebody who did have 5-year terms who moved to 4 or 3 and why they did it and if the outcome has been what they had hoped it would be.
Just so you know, this does not affect any of our terms, this is all, it doesn't change anything.
Yeah.
It doesn't change anything. And if I look at the 3 folks that left, one moved out of state for a job, one I think for personal reasons, and another one was child age out. So that's the data from this current board. Well, I'll get some more data to bring to you folks in the coming month, hopefully by next month. This is very responsive and answer questions. But, in the statute, I don't know if anybody looked it up. It doesn't say, it's basically, you make your best attempt not to, stack the years, so to speak. So you really want to avoid, a majority of the board going out 1 year. This would be like, after long said, it would be several years from now, but it would be
It takes 5 years to
Yeah.
cycle. If it went 3 years, it takes 5 years to cycle, and every 5 years it'd be 2 seats.
Yep.
Just the way it goes around. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Anything else?
Well, thanks for bringing that up, though. I don't think I've ever really thought about it.
Never thought about it.
Well, I'm just thinking about succession planning and things of that nature, so we remain consistent.
Yeah.
We'll move along. Some business office for information. Close to the information of the board, copies of warrants. General Fund A, number 21 and 24. Capital Fund H, number 10, 11, and 12. Also, business office for approval. Anything, questions, comments on any of the business office?
I do not.
Nope.
Great. And I got a resolution on the budget transfer for November 2020.
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District approve the attached budget transfer for November 2020.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution carries. Along to the treasurer's report. We close for the board's approval is a copy of the treasurer's report for the month ending November 30th, 2020. Are there any questions at all about this report?
No.
Can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District approve the treasurer's report for the month ending November 30th, 2020.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution carries. District management response letter. Proposed for the board's approval is the district's response to the management letter for the external audit completed by Weston Company, CPSs, for the year ended June 30th, 2020. Are there any questions? I get a resolution then.
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District approve the district's response to the management letter, items noted in our audited financial statements as of June 30th, 2020.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution carries. Move along to the 2021-2022 budget calendar. I got a resolution.
Just sneaks up on us every year.
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District, upon the recommendation of the superintendent, hereby approve the attached 2021-2022 budget calendar for the purpose of developing the school budget.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Tax collector's report. Close for the information of the board is the Town of Colony's 2020-2021 school tax collection report and affidavit, collector C, Michelle Bilgley, Town of Colony, the warrant in the amount of $7,141,436.10. $7,026,647.37 was collected and transferred, and $114,788.73 was uncollected. The tax collection report is available for review upon request. Any questions? Now, can I get a resolution?
Is that me?
Mhm.
Okay. Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District accept the tax collection report as submitted, the affidavit to be signed by each board member.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The tax refund, small claims assessment review settlement. Can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District, upon the recommendation of the superintendent, hereby approve the tax refund in the amount of $1,835.17 as a result of the assessment review of filing number AR 5420.
This one I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution carries. Another tax refund stipulation and order settlement. I get a resolution.
I'm opposed to this one. Want me to read it anyway?
You can read it, just gonna abstain or vote.
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District, upon the recommendation of the superintendent, hereby approve the tax refund in the amount of $1,620.36 as a result of the assessment review of filing index number 905486-20.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed?
Resolution carries. 2021 memorandum of understanding between the County of Albany and the Menands Union Free School District for the provision of COVID-19 testing at local schools. Can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District, upon recommendation of the superintendent, hereby approve the memorandum of understanding between the Menands Union Free School District and Albany County for the provision of COVID-19 testing for the 2020-2021 school year.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution carries.
And if I could there, Jeff, I'm going to talk more about testing at the end, but I think I would be remiss if I didn't express my thanks to the Albany County Department of Health for working not only with us on this, but with all Albany County schools. It's been a tremendous assist.
Revised 2020-2021 intermunicipal agreement technology services, South Colony Central School District. Can I get a resolution?
Resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District approve the revised intermunicipal agreement for technology services between the Menands Union Free School District and the South Colony Central School District for the 2020-2021 school year.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution carries. Donation. Get a resolution, please.
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District accepts the following donations as listed. Capcom 13 Thanksgiving Meals, Neary Group LLC, 500 Holiday Giving, Simmons Tool Company, $470, and $50 Price Chopper gift cards, Holiday Giving.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution carries.
And again, a
Thank you
big,
for everybody for
big
your
thank you to all those
generosity,
groups.
especially during this really difficult time. disposal of items, superintendent's recommendation that the Board of Education, in accordance with District Policy 6900, authorize the disposition of the following items: one Dell laptop, latitude 20. Can I get a resolution?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District approve the disposal of items as listed which cease to be of use or of value to the district.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution carries. Move along to personnel matters. Authorization, Dr. Maureen Long, employment agreement. Is there any questions? If not, can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District approve the employment agreement between the school district and the superintendent, Dr. Maureen Long, for the period of July 1st, 2020 to July 27th, 2023. President of the Board of Education is hereby authorized to execute such employment agreement on behalf of the school district.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Resolution carries. Appointments, tenure recommendation, Catherine.
Nersessian.
Right?
Nersessian.
Or do I?
Katie
She's watching.
Nersessian. She is watching.
Tenure recommendation. Catherine, that says here.
Nersessian.
Nersessian. Sorry. Elementary education teachers. Superintendent's recommendation that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District grant tenure to Catherine Cesarin in the elementary education tenure area effective January 1st, 2021. And I butchered it because of my mask, not because of my voice. Can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District grant tenure to Catherine Nersessian in the elementary education tenure area effective January 1, 2021.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution carries.
And Katie is in attendance virtually, so I will say congratulations, Katie.
Substitute food helper, Christian Calderon. Can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District approve Christian Calderon as a substitute food service helper for the 2020-2021 school year.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution carries. Substitute clerical, Ashley Jewett. Can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District approve Ashley Jewett as a substitute clerical worker for the 2020-2021 school year.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution carries. Substitute teachers fully clear. Can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District approves the following substitute teachers for the 2020-2021 school year as listed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution carries. Increase existing compensation time. Increase the compensation time from the existing 40 hours per year, not to exceed 80 hours per year for the head cook. Are there any questions? Now, can I get a resolution?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District approve the increased amount of compensation from 40 hours per year to not exceed 80 hours per year for the head cook.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution carries. Thank you, Mike, for going above and beyond and continue to do that. Food service in this really tough time. I know there's been tough time. Board of Education matter, CSE, CPSE recommendations. Can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District approve the CSE, CPSE recommendations as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
student matters, class size update as of the end of December. Like, 168 in person and 137 virtual, total 305.
That update includes our, the new K-5 increase?
It does not, because this is as of 12/8.
12.8, okay.
That will change again then for the next page.
It will.
Okay, gotcha. Superintendent's comments.
So first thing I want to talk about is back in September, October, as part of a discussion, and I believe out of suggestion from a member of the public, talking about what we do for our social studies curriculum, specifically at our middle school, but then beyond that, and an interest in learning more about that. I have met twice now with Mr. Schweitzer, our middle school social studies teacher. Joining us also has been Miss Ball, our middle school English language arts teacher, because they do a lot together with the content and social studies and the literature. Ms. Canavo has begun joining us for those meetings, and they are preparing a presentation to bring to the Board of Education at our January meeting, which I actually hope will be the first of many to talk about some of our curriculum and instruction in light of some of the questions that we have, to provide both the board and the public in attendance a better understanding of what we are obligated to teach, the needs we see in our student body, and how we marry the two of those. So I'm excited about it, they're excited about it, and I think it will be a very informative presentation. My second item, and it was alluded to a little bit earlier in the agenda, is the required COVID testing of schools. And that has to do with the relatively newly designated microcluster zones, and those zones range from yellow to orange to red. And based on those designations, schools have certain obligations to test. Those designations come about when a certain threshold of percentage of positive cases has been met. That was tweaked a little bit recently by powers beyond us to include additional data, including hospitalizations and deaths. And it's a metric that we don't quite fully understand, but at some point in time, we will likely be told we are in one of these microclusters. There's 3 regions that the governor mentioned at his 1:30 press conference today that haven't been designated yet, but they are looking closely at. We are still not there. But we need to be prepared in the event that we are there. So again, I express my gratitude to Albany County, working with our BOCES, working with our other local school districts, and working with the Albany County Department of Health. We could go through a process to have them essentially provide oversight for the testing and provide the testing kits free of charge. That's the MOU that you approved this evening. So we went through that whole process, got things ready to go, and actually our testing kits arrived last week. We sent a communication out to parents that I think was pretty detailed last week about what we have to do, why we have to do it, and how we have to do it. If you had a chance to look at the communication in its entirety and click on the links, we actually had a video of our school nurse conducting a test on a young adult, not a child, but to really, I think, try and provide some relief to parents who may not know what to expect, who haven't been through the process before, or have been through the process before, which in some testing cases is a little bit more invasive. So in that communication last week, we did send out a consent to test. We cannot test any child without consent from the parent, and we are only obligated to test our live children. With just the first communication out, we had 47 responses back, and of those 47, 46 have agreed to allow their children to participate in testing. That testing does not only include students, it includes any faculty and staff who are on site as well. At present, the requirements, if we move into a yellow microcluster zone, will be that we have to test 20% of our in-person population, that's a combination of students and staff, in a 1-month period of time. So that's a total of about 45 students, and we have 4 weeks to do that. So right now, with our current staffing and the way that testing works, we are well positioned to do that. That said, we are also working with the village and some other medical agencies locally to try and secure additional trained personnel who can step in if we have to test more than that. Right now, we are very comfortable that we can test the numbers we need to test to. If we were to move to orange, that number goes from 20% to 30%. And then I believe it stays at 30% in red, but the window of time you have to do the testing gets a little bit shorter. And we only need to continue to test if our percentage positive exceeds the microcluster percentage. So if it's say 5% and we do our 20% and we're under 5%, we're done until another designation occurs. So it's definitely something we had never planned on doing as a school. Again, tremendous thanks to the county, to the BOCES, for stepping up and helping us do what we need to. We are, if they were to tell us tomorrow, we are a yellow microcluster and we need to test, we are prepared to do it with existing staff, and we have enough students whose parents have committed to doing that testing that we can meet all the requirements that we need to meet. So we're in a good spot to do that.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
Is the information then shared with Albany County?
Yes, yeah, and that's part of the consent because we're obligated
Because you
to
have to
share
give
that.
it back to them.
Yeah.
So, and just on a side note,
Sure.
Albany County has been doing a great job. They're in the weeds. They're about 10 days behind on contract tracing, right? It would be a shame if information fell away or didn't get provided the way it's supposed to be. They're doing everything they can. They just don't have the manpower like everyone else does to actually provide more help or to do anything that they're not already doing.
I agree.
But they have done a great job so far. It's just they don't have the manpower.
And what I appreciate the most is they are in the weeds. Anybody dealing with anything COVID is in the weeds right now. When we call them, they pick up the phone and they talk to us.
Great.
It's awesome.
That's great.
I'd like to thank the board. You give a lot of your time and your effort and time away from your family. You came together again last week, and I'm not going to say much about it because I think board members may talk about it during miscellaneous, but I was very pleased with our conversation and the board retreat last week around goal setting. And I am very optimistic about what will come of that and what we will be able to accomplish for our district and our kids. So I just wanted to say thank you. And last but not least, we are sitting here in December, and we are just a few days away from a needed, much deserved break for many, many people. But I just want to extend to all of you and to all of your families a very happy holiday season.
Thank you. Thank you. This was last year with 2 weeks break.
Christmas on a Wednesday. And I'm going to let Ms. Canava step up to this seat so you'll be able to hear her.
Thank you, Dr. Long, and we'll, Ms. Canavo, comments. Ready?
Yep. Thank you for having me here this evening. I wanted to talk a little bit about a remote learning day that we had on November 24th. All of our students and staff participated in a practice remote learning day, knowing that last year we were forced into remote learning and that this year we wanted to be more prepared in case that we found ourselves there again. The day went very successful. Myself, Mrs. Amatrano, and Dr. Long were here to field questions from families if anybody called or if anybody reached out or anybody came to school. And I have to say, so nobody came to school, so the messaging went very well. But in addition, our students participated. We had a few connectivity challenges that we worked with the families. We got them hooked up with what they needed. It allowed us to identify any families that needed hotspots. And then it also just identified any kinks in our remote scheduling that we had to work through, which were few. So thank you to the staff and to all of our students and families for supporting that. It was, I would say, overall very successful. The second piece was we had our follow-up picture day in December where we offered the opportunity for all of our virtual students to come in and have their pictures taken. We had a little under 70 students participate, come in. They came in between 2:30 and 6 p.m. after all of our live students had left. They entered through district office, came in, had their picture taken. It was great to see them here. So many of them were excited. You forget how quickly the front entrance looks different to the last time they were here. Come in and they were, so it was fun. It was nice, and they did a really nice job. We have wrapped up our first quarter and our first trimester. I have to say, it's been a long quarter and a long trimester, and families and teachers and students are all working really hard. They have worked hard, especially with our remote learners, to make sure that we're connecting with them, anybody who's facing challenges or having a hard time. The teachers have done a ton of outreach. I have to say our relationships with families have really grown through this process. And overall, any families that were experiencing issues, our guidance department reached out, worked with them, and we've had the opportunity to even bring some students back who maybe their situations have changed or remote learning was just proving to be incredibly hard for them. So it's hard to believe that we're on to second quarter and second trimester, but we're moving forward and moving forward in a great way. And then last but not least, we have our second date scheduled for parent-teacher conferences this Wednesday. It is a half day, and our teachers will be meeting remotely with families in an effort to answer questions, help them understand their child's progress, and to plan for second trimester and second quarter. Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to miscellaneous.
Jeff, if I could jump in here real quick, because there was one item that neither Jen or I had on our comments today, because I'm not sure we anticipated it. Today, we did welcome back a number of our K-5 students. It was that opportunity for them to transition. I have to tell you, seeing kids today here for the first time who were thrilled to be here was awesome. Seeing their friends' reaction to them being here was even better. It was really good to see kids be happy to be back in school. And they were, to Jen's point, everybody's working hard remotely, in person, parents, teachers. But it was nice to see them happy to be back and for their friends to be happy to have them back.
Okay, miscellaneous. Does anybody have anything?
I'll say quickly, right? Oh, sorry. And I'll just piggyback what Dr. Long was saying, right? In the beginning of this process, I think I was probably the most vocal about bringing kids back to a school building during a pandemic. I was opposed to it. I thought it was wrong. Didn't think it was the right thing to do. We moved into it, and I've now changed my opinion because obviously schools are the safest place for children to be. We've seen in other districts the children that are other districts are having problems. Most of their problems are not kids. They're adults, bus drivers, other staff members. They're not the children having problems. The districts that are having problems with their children are children that are not even in the school. They're the remote kids because they're doing things they're not supposed to be doing, being out in public without masks and not doing it. So my opinion on that whole topic has changed. I feel very confident and safe having children in this school building. I want to thank the staff for that and Dr. Long. It has changed my outlook on this to a point, because now we're coming into another holiday season and break time. We've seen the COVID increases after the Thanksgiving little stint. We're getting into another time off where people will be out doing things, and I'm just going to make my soapbox plea to just try not to get together with people outside of your little family house. Try to just keep this thing contained. The vaccine will come and we'll be better in the summer. But it's going to be a rough winter in life. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that the Ronald McDonald Readathon has just concluded. We met our goal. We raised a little bit more money for them than we did last year when we weren't in the middle of the pandemic. Which is awesome. So I want to thank everyone who participated. Our students read over 144 hours over the month of November and the beginning of December. So thank you everyone who participated. Congratulations to all our readers. And glad we had the opportunity to do that for the Ronald McDonald.
I try to say it, but I don't know why I'm doing this. Just have an opportunity to be very thankful for what's happening here, from the superintendent to the principal to the teachers to the business office. we went through that big change when our students came back into school, and I don't think people realize just like what a heavy lift that is to bring more children back and rearrange schedules and move teachers. So thank you to the teachers, to the parents that, you guys are doing, like Bill said, an awesome job here. I mean, I have a child in another district who, it's tough for them, and I mean, that we haven't had, the outbreak just goes to show that we're following the protocols and we're doing what needs to be done for children, so take this break, enjoy it, because you've earned it.
Enjoy it at home.
Yes, at home, at home. And that's where my mind goes, so that's all there is. But thank you, happy holidays.
Yeah, I don't have much to add to everyone's thoughts on this. It's been an incredible job done by everyone involved in the school. And everyone deserves congratulations and applause. And hopefully that will continue.
I'll just add to what everybody's saying. I'll say happy holidays to everybody, and I just want to take a moment to really thank the students, staff, everybody for all the work that you continue to do each day. I know today was a new day for kids coming back, so it was like opening day again. We're going to have to do this every market period. So it's a transformation every 10 weeks or so. And it's a very heavy lift. And so I appreciate all of the diligence that everybody is following, keep safe and to plan accordingly, and to have patience with each other. I think that's one of the most important things that we really need during this time. Everybody's stressed, everybody's overworked, everybody has anxiety, everybody has stress. But the key is working together through all this and for each other. So I want to thank everybody using your involved for all that you're doing every day for kids.
Thank you all.
I'll just mention one quick thing about our board retreat. Dr. Law mentioned about goal setting, the beginning process. We've just finished a capital project. We've, just had our financial planner present to us in November, building condition survey. So we're looking to the future. So we're building a plan now that will help guide us in the future. And we started last week with our retreat that we had. Thank you to everybody that participated in that as far as the board as well as the administration. And we'll continue to work on that, and we'll include all the constituent groups as needed as we build this plan and our priorities going forward. A couple quick questions just around for Kathy. It says, I was just reading up on the transportation aid survey for the transportation aid reimbursement. We have to have a survey completed by the 17th.
Ours is in.
Okay.
We got the link, it was in.
The other thing was the ERS contribution on track for the 15th, because we do get we get a discount for that. In February. All right, good. Check both the boxes I needed. That's good. Thank you for staying on top of everything. I know it's a time when things can get lost very easily. So thank you for that. That's all I had. Happy holidays to everybody, and we'll see you in 2021. And hopefully we're starting off 2021 on a very positive note as opposed to what happened this year. Anybody have anything else?
I just have to tell everyone, my daughter was very sad knowing that the mix that you make chosen today, the day you get the mix. Like, Keely, we're in COVID, there's no mix.
So I will tell you, I will tell you, on the table, on the way out, there are some items for the board members. I will tell you, they
I'm not gonna tell her.
I followed all COVID protocols when making it, but I certainly understand it is different times and will not be offended if you choose not to partake. I will also tell you that Mrs. Schroeder made a delivery for all of you today as well.
Thank you.
Yes, oh goodness.
Have you talked with her? How's it going?
Jen has talked with her more than I have. I think she's doing well.
Yeah, she's doing very well. She's
she wants to ask about kids and how are things going here, and, she knows that she can't come visit, and she's very saddened by that, but, anything more that she can come visit, she will be.
We miss her. Okay. Informational material. We spoke about the parent-teacher conference early release is this Wednesday, the 16th at 11:20 to 11:35 for K-5 and 12 o'clock for all of middle school, correct?
Yep, and it's staggered a little bit like the
Right.
typical dismissal,
Sure.
and I believe Jen, she went home today,
It's the whole person.
tomorrow, and then we will also do a messenger.
Is 11:20 the parent pickup or the bus? 11:20 bus, the parent pickup 11:30?
Yep.
Okay, there were just, some of the times were different on some of the communications last time, so I want to make 11:35 is parent pickup.
Yeah, and again, that's gonna go out in paper and messenger.
Okay.
The holiday recess, the 24th to the 1st, so that this is the last full week of instruction. Our next board meeting is Monday, January 11th at 6:30 p.m. Well, I did want to ask one thing. Since the federal government hasn't extended the evictions thing that runs out on the 31st, knowing that a good part of our community has rent property in apartments and such, yes, like the generic question, how are we addressing that in our anticipation that if that does come and go, we may have some real issues?
So I will tell you that I think our support services office, and that's our guidance counselor, who in the past has been our McKinney-Vento liaison, now working very closely with our school social worker, I think has a pretty good handle on our families who may get caught up in that. There's a little bit of, we can know what we can know. We cannot proactively reach out, unfortunately, to our apartment complexes, and they cannot give us information that would let them know that, but I think we are very attuned to what our families are currently dealing with and have a good sense of who could be impacted by that, and we'll just continue to keep our eyes and ears open.
Yeah, it does, I mean, we see the news every night and we hear about people that are, that are in the process of being evicted or going into this thing that's running out. We don't have a fair to act and all that, and I won't get into all the politics and all that, but I just, we have a certain segment of our population that we want to protect. So everything that we're doing, I'm glad to hear that.
And that could certainly have an impact on the residency at our shelter in the village too. And we do have a direct line with them, and to the extent, again, that we can, we get a heads up if we know we're going to have an impact.
I'll just give my 2 cents on that one too, right? In Albany County, if you can get in front of a judge in the next 60 days, you're lucky. And if you get a judge that will let a landlord throw someone out during the pandemic, you'd be lucky also. I know what you're saying, right? And my concern with that same population that's in need is the food. I'm doing everything I can to make sure that people have food in it. You won't find a judge around that's gonna throw someone out because they didn't pay rent during the pandemic.
There's no, when stuff happens and.
It happens, and you'll hear about it, that's not gonna happen anytime soon.
All right, add that at the end there. Okay, public comment. Please note during the public comment sessions, members of the committee may address the board on agenda and non-agenda items. The board president may limit remarks to the speakers to a reasonable time. Speakers must identify themselves and the topic on which they would like to make their remarks. And you can go to boecomments@menands.org. I didn't see any earlier.
I don't see any coming up right now. We do have some people with us though tonight too. But again, I'll repeat that, boecomments@menands.org.
There's nothing coming through there. I see a hand in the back. Oh, hi Vanessa. I didn't see you again.
Hi, Vanessa Mercado. So my question is regarding the COVID testing, and I know that you said you received 45 positive in regards to participating, not positive, COVID cases. So the question is, if you had like 150 families that said they were, or kids, families that said they could participate, how would you be selecting children to participate in the COVID testing? Is it random? Are you looking for representative samples throughout the school?
It's a random selection, and I do believe that was in the communication, but a random selection of both students and staff that are on site only.
Correct, okay. And then my other question is in regards to, middle school families and when they would be surveyed regarding returning to school.
So I would say we don't have a definitive date yet, but that in January. So it would be very shortly after we return from break, very similar to the time frame that we use with the elementary students.
Although, do you guys see anything in the chat or anything, or?
I think it's mine.
I'm not seeing anything in the chat.
Coordinated.
Yeah, exactly. Put clean shirt on.
All right, so there's nothing further, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Make sure, folks, that you sign Jean's,